Dindigul, we are in a government polyclinic and we have the government veterinarians with us. We are going to see the ultrasound machine that they have with them. So we have this DG100 CT vet. This is the ultrasound machine. So what we are going to do, we have a power point, 5 ampere plug point. We are going to switch it on now. And then we will try to understand the machine that we have. We have two probes with us. Please come close. Okay. So on one hand we have a convex probe. Okay, and then we also have a micro convex probe. And this machine has an inbuilt software for examining different species. We have sheep, sheep and goat, we have cattle, we have horses, we have dogs, we have cats as well. So this machine has just been started. It will take around 30 seconds for it to get started. Now again, as I said, there are a lot of options over here. If you come close, so we will see this is called as a time gain compensation. Can you focus on this, please? Time gain compensation. So this is usually kept in such a way that this is a slope at which once the gain is set, we don't have to set the gain. So the most important the connections or the buttons that we are interested in. One is in focus. This is focus. This is depth. Okay. So these are the two buttons that we want to know. Another thing is there's an option of menu over here. When we press this. When we press the option of menu, then we can go for further settings. So just waiting for the machine to get started. So it takes around 30 seconds to a minute for it to get started. And once that is done, so this is the probe. So ideally, I will make sure that this room is dark. This is the indicator. This is a micro convex probe. I have put it around my neck so that I can take care of the probe. Now this is the micro convex probe that I have selected. I am going to select abdomen of the dog. This is just a test. I go for the set button. So now if you see, I have it on. Now first thing what I am interested is in the focus. So this is the focus button over here if you see carefully. So I can move the focus up. I can move it down. Okay, if I go into the menu option. So there is a menu option over here. So the focus number. So if you see carefully, the focus number I can change it. So there is, instead of one focus, now there is 2, then there is 3 and there is 4, and I can move them up and move them down. So depending upon the need, I can change it. So I'm going to change the focus back to just one focus so that I can make sure my sound waves, they hit at the right point. Another thing I'm interested in the depth. Now if you see the depth, now this is interesting. This machine offers around 1.8 centimeters. This is the minimum depth over here. Okay, and if you see the maximum depth that it offers is because this is suitable for even large animals. Okay, so I am 13.9, almost 14 centimeters. That's a good depth over here. Okay, another thing is I go in the option over here and I go for the we need to go down. Okay, so this is the button over here which helps us to go down. So I'm going for the frequency. Now let's see what I've got in frequency. Okay, so the lowest frequency that I have over here is 5 on this probe, microconvex probe. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Okay, so this probe gives me frequency from up to 5 to 10 megahertz. And then of course there are a lot of options, but as I said, we need to make sure that these are the 3 buttons. We want to work on the focus, we want to work on the depth, we want to work on the frequency, and then make sure that we are able to get the most of our machine. Now if I want to change my probe, what I would do is I would go in the exam button. Okay, so now I have selected a species. Suppose if I want to change my species, so I go for a you said the other probe was best suited for madam sheep, right? Okay, so I will just select this probe. So I have selected this probe over here, and then I am selecting ovine over here. So I have selected it. So now I take this probe out. Okay, and then I get my next probe. Again, I have to be careful. Where is my indicator over here? Okay, this is my indicator over here. If you see carefully, so I get it around my neck so that I am able to take care of it safely. And now let's go through the machine again. The time gain compensation is the same. Again, I go for the focus now. So if you see, focus helps me to change the arrow. Now if you see, now I've selected a different species. So now let's see how much of depth I can go minimum and maximum. I've selected a ovine species over here. Okay. So now I have got 3.7 centimeters, and then when I go on maximum, now if you see, I can go up to 32. Now this is significant depth. Okay, 32.3 is the value that it showed me. I believe it's 32 centimeters. Okay, and then I go in the menu option. Then I go for the focus. I have 4 options. Okay, then this one, left. Then I go for the frequency. Now let's see how much frequency I have. Now I have 2.5 frequency, 3.5, 4.5, 6, 7.5. So up to 2.5 to up to 7.5 megahertz I have frequency, and depth, if you see, I can go up to 32.3, which is quite significant. Now let's see if I go back in the exam and now I select equine. Okay, so now I've selected equine as my species. Now I would like to see what depth I can go for here. So the minimum depth, maximum is 32.3. 32.3 is the maximum. And 3.7. Okay, so these are my values in terms of depth. And now if I go for the frequency, let me see, I think the frequency should remain the same. Okay, so 2.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 6, 7.5. So those are my options. So again, I would like to emphasize focus, depth, frequency. These are your main buttons that you want to get started with. Of course, then there are different options over here depending upon your machine. Now in this machine we can do a color Doppler also, and we have a lot of other options or same options like other machines as well. And you just have to get familiar with it. So these are the buttons which really make the difference. Okay. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Vinay. This is a government polyclinic. We are in Dindigul with the government veterinarians, and this is project number by. It's all about empowering vets. Thank you so much.